Well, today we have a tale of two lawsuits, one of the Me Too nature and another of the Mean Too nature. A friend of the show, Colonel Kurtz, has astutely observed that hostile work environment is the new Me Too, and I wholly agree. But firstly, this one is about Russell Brand. So the stories about Russell Brand kind of went dark for a while after that Channel 4 Dispatch investigation went public. But now this has finally been brought to court. A different accuser, who has also stayed anonymous, has brought forward allegations that happened on the set of the movie Arthur in 2010. So this was quite a while ago.
Oh, by the way, do you know who else was in that movie?
Who?
Greta Gerwig.
She was.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that in the article.
Yep.
So this says he has been accused of SA by a film extra during the production of Arthur in 2010. It says that Brand, quote unquote, appeared intoxicated, smelling of alcohol, and was carrying a bottle of vodka on set prior to the assault. Brand, who played the titular role in Arthur, proceeded to expose himself to the complainant, Jane Doe, in full view of the cast and crew.
Here's the thing.
And
he could have been going the Jared Leto route with the method acting.
He was method acting.
Because it says a drunken playboy stands to lose a wealthy inheritance when he falls for a woman his family doesn't like. Maybe he was just trying to get into character.
Maybe. I can't imagine what the cast and crew would have thought after seeing that. I wonder if she can get anyone to corroborate that this part of the story happened.
Be very difficult.
If it happened in public view. Now, finally, the essay happened later that same day when I was in the bathroom, she said. Mr. Brand entered after me and assaulted me. As a member of the production crew, guarded the door from outside.
That's crazy. Like, if that's true, that's insane. Like, is that like...
At the behest of
him?
Russell Brand,
like,
or what? And how would she even know that if she were inside at the time that this happened?
Wasn't there a similar story about Conor McGregor doing something like this at a hotel?
Know.
I feel like there was.
I don't know. As a result of the essay, I suffered and continue to suffer extreme embarrassment, shame, and fear. So this lawsuit is not only against Russell Brand, it's also against the production companies that were all involved in making Arthur. So that's quite a fight to pick.
Yeah. It's
but why do they keep coming forward anonymously? Why?
What do you do? Like, what do you do in that way, right? Like, there's no way to corroborate. All it really can do is hurt that person's reputation, but it doesn't actually solve a problem because you can't actually adjudicate this.
The Me Too movement, man.
Well, I mean,
it was started by women who were aging out of the ability to leverage their sexuality to get opportunities and roles in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And they decided to weaponize their sexuality one last time by Me Tooing someone.
So it was like a crescendo.
It's, and what I believe, my polemic on Me Too has been that this is a direct result of sexual liberation. Mm-hmm. Because sexual liberation requires everyone to have accountability, and women can't do that.
I believe that it might be what I would call like one of the worst sides of a liberal worldview, right?
Well,
meaning that we've liberated people, we've created this liberal doctrine here in America that I think for a very long time felt more balanced and even keel. Like I said, when I was growing up, it was very, very common to see the at school and in the press was the push for women. It's like, get out into the workforce. Now we all know that was just a tax scheme by the government anyways. But the point being that, like, look, we said to women, we said, you can do anything you want. You can be the president. You can be the CEO. You can do all of these things. You do not have to get married at 20.
But it comes at a price.
But nobody said the comes at a price part.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with living your life as though it was created with slogans.
It's all about trade-offs.
Yep.
And I believe the sexual revolution incentivized women to bargain with their sexuality rather than have value in their femininity, and incentivized men to bargain with their power and opportunities that they could offer and their resources in order to get sex. And that's why when stories like this happen, I struggle to conjure up sympathy in my heart for either party, because when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
And in the absence of an actual victim, a way to prove it, this goes back to what I say about it's impossible to care about everyone. I believe that a person who claims to care as much about their family and friends as they do some woman or man on a set of a movie that gets assaulted or gets in trouble or something like I don't buy that you actually care that deeply. I think that you're virtue signaling.
Think about there are so few platforms where you can talk honestly about female psychology at this point. But think about the aspect of all this that is non-victims convincing other non-victims that they are victims. You know?
Yeah.
How did Jane Doe from this lawsuit get convinced to come forward with these allegations?
Psychology.
It was the media blitz. That, like, this media avalanche that threw Russell Brand under the bus.
And it wouldn't be necessarily...
So she thought that she finally had the power to come forward. But, I mean, it's better for everyone's mental well-being to not think of things that happened to them as trauma, even if they were.
Yeah. It's
I don't know the truth behind any of this. I don't know if this happened. I don't know anything. But I see that, you know, she's coming forward at a very strategic time.
The desire to label every bad thing that's ever happened to us as trauma. Again, I don't know if this claim is true, then yes, that would be trauma. But the push to consider everything that happens to us that's bad as trauma, it cheapens the word. It actually cheapens in a lot of ways our resolve as human beings, right? Like what we're able to deal with. And for cases like this, when it has to end up in a court and you put it into the court of public opinion, now the sides are set so ferociously on either side, right? There's the people who aren't going to trust a word you say unless you produce a high quality H.264 video of the assault happening. People have been screwed too many times to believe it. The other people, the ardent supporters, you could produce no evidence. You could actually produce evidence of you committing a crime and they would still say that you were the victim because you're a woman and,
this has been
people have picked their sides, which is unfortunate.
MeToo was something perpetrated by menopausal Gen X women, and its consequences have severely screwed over future generations. Because look at the way that young men have to act in society now.
Terrified?
They're terrified.
All because Russell Brand can't,
They're these mousy, cowardly, impotent shadows of what men ought to be.
That's
all because of the implications of Me Too and
the
also
actions of the men that have way more status in society.
There are other aspects to that. There are other factors there, like porn addiction and things like that. But it's not to be discounted that a Hollywood movement like this caused severe it caused unforgivable consequences for younger generations. So anyway,
it's
the Abigail Breslin lawsuit is how the turntables turn. So Abigail Breslin is being sued by the production company behind Classified, which is a spy thriller where she plays the daughter of Aaron Eckhart, the starring role. And she accused her co-star of being aggressive and demeaning and refused to appear with him alone in several scenes that they were supposed to film together.
She's supposed to play his daughter.
Yeah, she played his long-lost daughter. And that obviously, when two of the biggest characters in a movie can't film scenes together, causes issues for production. And they are trying to sue her for damages of $80,000 because she refuses to sign an agreement to finalize this release. And she's also, by refusing to film these scenes with him, changed the movie's plotline itself.
Happened in the Miami Vice movie, Jamie Foxx refused to go back to the Dominican Republic to film scenes because of something that happened on set. So they had to fundamentally change the entire ending to the film. Also, I remember somebody saying that when Polly Perrette's character left NCIS, who was like, she played Abby, who was like a very good, almost like a younger daughter to the main character. Like those two actors didn't get along by the time the show was over, and they had to basically film their last scene together through a window so that they could do over-the-shoulder shots, so they never had to be in the same room while they were shooting it.
So she alleged that Aaron Eckhart acted so aggressively toward her on set that she was afraid to be alone with him. Now, it's weird because filming a scene where it's just them in the scene doesn't mean she's alone in a room with him. Yeah. The entire rest of the cast and crew is there with you. So it seems more like she was trying to get revenge against the rest of the production because of interpersonal issues she had with him.
It's like mentioning the stuff with Joss Whedon. It's like the Joss Whedon one actually has merit. Joss Whedon wasn't allowed to be alone with Michelle Trachtenberg because he'd make her cry and everything. But that's not what this is, because he wouldn't actually be alone with her because there would be a whole crew of people behind them.
So the lawsuit says during the course of production, the entire production almost ground to a halt when Breslin advised the production of Eckhart's aggressive, demeaning, and unprofessional behavior, which she insisted placed her at various times in peril. And she also sent a confidential letter to SAG-AFTRA setting forth her fears and blasting Mr. Eckhart's behavior. And they claim that no one in the rest of the cast and crew can corroborate her claims that he was acting aggressive or demeaning her.
They're also extremely malleable things to say. What does that mean? Demeaning how?
There's no explanation.
I would like a better option would have been to list an explanation. Like, give me like an example of what he did that was so offensive or that upset you so much, especially if this is going to court, and the idea is that you're supposed to figure this out in a courtroom, or you have to actually provide evidence. Sure, you might not be able to provide me with me or the court or anybody else with video of what happened, but at least be specific so that people don't just hear these buzzwords and immediately make it seem like you're going after a paycheck, which is what it sounds like, even if it is true.
At this point, if a woman is accusing a man even of something with less gravity than an assault or abuse of some kind, it's still in the MeToo milieu because it's starting to carry that same weight with it. And when bystanders see these headlines and immediately disqualify it and cast disbelief on those allegations, who can blame them?
Yep.
Especially like, we've been burned too many times.
And the whole demanded payment part makes it hard to believe as well.
Yeah, which it says Abigail Breslin has demanded a payment of $35,000 as a condition for signing the final agreement, which will get the film released.
That tells me
and
that
get them the tax credits they need to stay above water.
That tells me that what was the charges that he was demeaning? What were the different things? He was demeaning.
There's nothing specific. Aggressive. It just says aggressive, demeaning, and unprofessional behavior.
That tells me
no
that
details.
Aggressive, demeaning, and unprofessional behavior has a $35,000 price tag.
Yep.
There's a $20 super chat here from Bullet Shepherd. Mary hit the head exactly. Men have become cowering, mousy, indecisive, unconfident messes due to the bulldozing feminists and government favoritism of them. I don't cut them any slack, though. They wanted this. They get the bad parts, too.
Well, I mean, women, think about it. Why do women hate men so much these days? It's not for any of the stated reasons, because women so rarely state how they really feel or how they really think. It's because of this. Men aren't acting like men, and women hate men that they can't respect. Women can't love a man that they can't respect.
Even if that's true, I doubt.
And that's what this is.
Even if that's true, I doubt that any of those women could articulate.
Oh, of course not.
What it is that they would respect in a guy. Anyways, it would be a bunch of feminist platitudes about what respect for a woman actually is. Which
Han Solo would get mean-toed by Princess Leia in 2023.
I mean, we'll ask that question.
Han Solo created a hostile work environment for Princess Leia where he was very aggressive, demeaning, and unprofessional.
This is actually a fair question. It's slightly off topic. Like, what would, for a feminist, what would it be about a man? What would a man do that they actually respected? I would be interested to know what the answer to that question would be. It's not.
It's always just a platitude. Like, he treats women like people, maybe? It's always something like that. Feminists can't be honest about what they really desire.
I don't even know if it's necessarily. I mean, for the most awful and socio-politically minded of them, maybe. The rest, I think it's literally just not being able to put words to the idea because you haven't thought the idea through thoroughly enough to really know what it is. You know it when you see it. Like, you know it when you see it. It's kind of like they were pointing out with Taylor Swift. Like, why does she like this guy who's very different than all the other guys she's dated? Maybe, and obviously that's a horrible example because I don't know anything about their actual relationship. But the idea is that they might not know why it is that a certain type of guy attracts them. We also saw there was like surveys in the past that said even feminists don't want to date male feminists.
And there was a woman on TikTok who says, like, I'm a feminist, but I don't want to date a feminist or a liberal guy because they don't act like men ought to act. Yeah. And it's like, wow, maybe that should make you question the validity of your entire worldview if you had a couple more IQ points above room temperature.
No, it's because the worst actors of all of them put the movement ahead of those causes because they believe that getting the movement ahead is more important.
Feminism and sexual liberation collapse in on themselves as political movements when they put women in charge of their own decision making and ask women to take accountability for their desires, which for thousands of years women have, rightly so, benefited from not doing. So there's really no end to this in sight, as we always say when we talk about MeToo or MeToo allegations. This is going to keep going.
The West will fall before anything changes.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.